So today we're going to talk about a textbook. Yeah, I know, a textbook. It's an English textbook from India called Flamingo. But trust me, this is way more than just a book for school. It's actually part of a quiet revolution in education, a mission to connect what kids learn in a classroom to the real, messy, complicated world right outside the school gates. Let's see how they pull it off.
But first, let's just ask a really basic question. What is a textbook even for? I mean, really think about it. Is it just a tool to help you pass an exam? A collection of facts and grammar rules? Or could it be something more? That's the big question that the creators of Flamingo are really wrestling with.
And here's the problem they're up against. This quote right from the book's foreword calls out this legacy of bookish learning. You know what that means. It's an education system that can feel totally disconnected from the world students actually live in.
The enemy here has a name: rote learning. We've all been there, right? Where you're just memorizing dates and definitions so you can spit them back out on a test, but you never really get why it matters. It's a system that can make learning feel kind of hollow, totally irrelevant to your actual life. And so here it is, Flamingo. This book was born out of a big push in India back in 2005 to rethink the entire curriculum. Its whole mission is to build a bridge between what happens inside the classroom and what happens outside. But how on earth does a textbook do that? Well, let's dive into a couple of stories from its pages and find out.
All right, first up, we have a story called The Last Lesson. It's by a French author, and let me tell you, it is not just a story. It is a powerhouse lesson on language, identity, and what it feels like to lose both. Okay, so you really got to get the setting here. The year is 1870. France has just lost a war, and these two regions, Alsace and Lorraine, have been taken over by Prussia. And then an order comes down from Berlin. No more teaching French in schools. From now on, it's German only.
We see all this through the eyes of a young boy named Franz. He's a kid who, never really paid attention in French class. He always took his language and his teacher, Mr. Hamel, completely for granted. But now on this one final day, the reality of what's being ripped away from him and his entire town hits him like a ton of bricks. This line from the teacher, M. Hamel, wow, this is the heart of the entire lesson. He's telling these kids that their language isn't just a bunch of words. It's their culture, their identity, it's a form of resistance. It is the key to their prison. Can you imagine? For a teenager reading this, it completely reframes language. It's not just a school subject anymore, it's about freedom itself. And the story ends with this incredibly moving, silent moment of defiance. M. Hamel is so overcome with emotion he can't even speak. So he just turns to the blackboard and writes, "Long live France," before dismissing his class for the very last time. It's an absolute gut punch of a lesson on patriotism, culture, and loss. So we go from the loss of cultural freedom in 19th century France, and the textbook just pivots, hard, to a modern-day reality in India. This next piece is called Lost Spring, and it forces students to look directly at the harsh realities of child poverty, right in their own country. First, we meet a boy named Saheb. His family fled their home in Bangladesh, and now he spends his days picking through trash. But get this, the text points out the heartbreaking irony of his full name, Saheb-e-Alam. It means Lord of the Universe, and yet his entire world is a garbage dump. And here's where the story gets really nuanced. It doesn't just show you poverty, it explores what it means from different perspectives. For the adults, digging through the trash is purely about survival. But for kids like Saheb, it's also a place of wonder. Finding a single coin or a 10-rupee note, it's like finding treasure. It's a tiny spark of hope. Then, the story shifts gears. We meet another boy, Mukesh. He lives in a town called Firozabad, which is famous for one thing, making glass bangles. And here, child labor isn't some rare thing, it's the rule. It's the family business, passed down from one generation to the next. And then the text just hits you with this number, 20,000. 20,000 children are working illegally in these dangerously hot glass furnaces. They often lose their eyesight before they even become adults. This isn't just a sad story, it's a massive systemic crisis. And this is why it's so incredibly hard to escape. The book describes it as being trapped between two worlds. First, there's the world of the family, caught in this endless cycle of poverty and social stigma. And then there's the outside world, the middlemen, the officials, the whole system that profits from their work and makes sure nothing ever changes. But even in this incredibly bleak picture,
the story finds a little flicker of defiance. Because unlike so many others who've just accepted their fate, Mukesh dares to dream a different dream. He says, I want to be a motor mechanic. It sounds so small, but in his world, that is a revolutionary act. So these two stories we've looked at, one about cultural identity, the other about brutal poverty, they are not random. They are part of a much bigger, intentionally diverse collection of writing that's designed to open students' eyes to all kinds of human experiences. I mean, just look at the variety here in the prose section. You've got these international short stories, then a biographical piece on Mahatma Gandhi about leadership. Then you might read a super personal story about overcoming fear. It is a global, multifaceted look at the world. And the poetry is just as wide-ranging. You get the classics, like John Keats, but you also get the powerful, modern voice of the Indian poet Kamala Das, who writes about the lives of women. The themes take students everywhere, from the beauty of nature to the harsh realities of life in a slum. And it all comes back to this. This is the book's mission statement, right there in the introduction. The whole point isn't just to teach English. It's to get young adults ready for the real, complex, and often difficult world that they are about to step into. So, what's the final lesson here for us? Why does a textbook like this even matter? Well, because it completely redefines what a textbook can be. By making students grapple with tough subjects like oppression, poverty, and injustice, Flamingo turns literature from just another subject into an active tool, a tool for building empathy and social awareness. And that kind of leaves us with one final question for you to think about. When you look back at all your years in school, what's the one lesson from a book, from a teacher, from a story that has actually stayed with you all this time? And more importantly, why?